Man, over the past few days, I've tried to figure out an easy way to explain these T-Wolves defensive performances, but there's no one way to describe them. They've completely shut the door on the reigning champs and have made them look human when many thought it wasn't possible. Let's look deep into both of these games and what Minnesota's doing that's giving the Nuggets so much trouble. Game 1 of my most anticipated series of the playoffs to kick off the second round. Out of the gate, Minnesota sets the tone early with a strong defensive possession, and does a great job navigating two screens and stays active on Murray to force a turnover. The T-Wolves match Cat onto Jokic, and Rudy as a roamer guarding Aaron Gordon. I bet a lot of people expected Rudy to get Jokic during the series, but this makes a lot of sense to me as Jokic and Gordon kills teams at the rim with their lobs and plays at the paint, and Rudy is the best way to combat this. Minnesota matches up really well with pretty much every team in the league, but Denver specifically, they have the pieces to slow down the actions they run frequently. This is what I mean by that. With Cat having the Jokic assignment, watch how Rudy's presence off the ball prevents Jokic from getting to a spot at the rim which forces the miss. They are flawless in nearly every element defensively. They get back to stop the transition, and the one knock on Rudy in the past was his perimeter defense in the playoffs. Here he shows his improvement and clamps up MPJ to force a turnover. And offensively, with a big as talented as Cat, they can run these 4-5 pick and rolls due to his ability to pass. Watch the team defense on this possession. McDaniels recovers for the deflection, and after a loose ball, everyone finds their man and Cat helps off Gordon to force a miss. Rudy did have moments where he'd be stuck on Jokic, and Jokic did have some success. But when he's roaming at the rim, and the Nuggets have many non-factors on the floor, it makes it almost impossible to make consistent offense. Jokic gets a great matchup off the switch, but here comes Gobert again to contest him at the rim. Then off his second jump, he contests Watson again. On the other end, some poor screen navigation by Reggie Jackson gives Ant an easy look at his spot for the midi. This is what I mean with having non-factors on the floor. The Nuggets bench has been very poor this postseason, and Malone has put Christian Braun and Peyton Watson on the floor together, allowing Rudy to sag off heavily from the corner and barely needing to contest at the three. I just really don't like the effort from Jokic on some of these possessions. Here in the pick and roll, they ice the ball screen, and once it's entered into the middle, watch how lazy he is to recover, which forces Jamal Murray to stick onto Gobert too long, giving Cat an open three. But on offense, Denver found some good looks with their three core guys out of the pick and roll. Cat's a little slow on the drop, and Jokic gets the ball in the middle for the lob at the rim. Same thing out of halftime. Minnesota can just switch the screen, but Cat is late on it, and Jokic again throws a beautiful lob for Gordon at the rim. But on offense, the T-Wolves run the same variation of the same play 3 times in a row, all leading to Cat buckets. The first one is a stack or Spain pick and roll action where Cat screens the ball and Rudy sets the screen for him immediately after. Murray is switched onto him, and this isn't a contest at all for the 7-footer. Same play again, Cat screen leading to one from Rudy for Towns, but this time Cat attacks the Murray closeout and uses his 7-foot frame to finish the floater. Then the next play, this time on the other side of the court, Cat sets one again to get the switch, but instead Conley and Gobert get into a 2-man game and Cat attacks the baseline again for the layup. The Nuggets had some good body movement in this game, but it seemed like every time they attacked the rim, someone was there waiting for them to contest the shot. The same thing happens here, and you see how difficult it is to get a clean shot off at the rim, but Murray makes this ridiculous layup over Gobert where you can only tip your cat up to him. This gets him going as he gets to a strong hand to the nail for the easy pull-up. Minnesota's defense is now starting to break down. Reggie cuts leading to the backside help, having to rotate leaving the corner open. Even though he missed this, it's a great look that they haven't got a lot so far in game 1. But before we look at the fourth, I want to highlight this one play by Nikola Jokic. Watch how he gets sped up here and is in a rush bringing the ball up. This rarely happens to the Joker, but it's a little foreshadowing to a big moment in the fourth. We'll get back to that. I love the plays Minnesota made in traffic in the fourth quarter. Ant doesn't force the issue at the rim and passes deep in the paint. Reed then doesn't settle and attacks the closeout, leading to the help collapsing and Conley wide open in the corner. Here Brown does a decent job navigating the screen, but Ant gets him on his back and attacks Jokic, who doesn't pose any threat at the rim. Then here Ant attacks the strong side and sees no hands or contest to finish the tough midi. Denver also has some good moments in congested areas. Off the handoff, Murray gets downhill, and with the seal from Gordon, Brown is left wide open for the three. But here Edwards sees the help at the nail and wisely attacks it to get Reed open for the three. Then off that make, this is where my point of Jokic being sped up kills the Nuggets in the moment. You see he rushes up the court to find KCP, who misses the three. The T-Wolves directly get in transition, and off the and miss, Reed cleans it up for the dunk. Then off that dunk, the Joker runs on both lengths of the floor, exerts a ton of energy, and although he scored, look at how much it took out of him to get those 2 points. Because on the other side of the floor, they attack him out of the pick and roll. Gordon has to tag on Rudy, and Ant throws a skip pass to Reed in the corner, and Jokic is too late to recover on the baseline, and Minnesota gets the layup. The Nuggets got killed in the middle of the floor defensively. Gordon helps, and there's no rotation from KCP, giving Reed another easy look. Then on the other end, Gobert, again being the last line of defense, breaks up the lob from Jokic. And to ice the game, Ant gets to a spot in the post, waves Cat to empty the corner, and goes to work.
Edwards working, leaning, spinning, shot, sticks it!
Minnesota got everything they wanted on both sides of the floor and shocked a lot of people who haven't watched them much this year. This was expected for me and set up for a near must-win game for Denver in Game 2. Game 2 was hands down the greatest defensive effort from a team I have ever seen personally, and what I like to call teach tape on that side of the ball. The majority of the clips from this game is going to be defensively for Minnesota because I have never seen a unit so in sync on that side of the ball. They finished this game with 12 blocks, 11 steals, and held Denver to 35% from the field with 16 turnovers. Rudy Gobert was out due to the birth of his son, so Minnesota started Kyle Anderson in his place to match up with Aaron Gordon. But off the bench, Naz Reid had, in my opinion, his best defensive and all-around game of his career. His ability to switch on the perimeter and guard Jokic in the post was the biggest thing that stuck out to me after watching this game. And the reason I rarely show half-court offensive clips in this breakdown is because Minnesota's defense created their offense like it does here. They double Jokic and rotate beautifully to get the block at the rim, and this leads to a 2-on-1 for the bucket. Another double and a good cut by Justin Holiday, but Alexander Walker cuts him off at the rim for the block, and this again leads to another bucket by Minnesota. And then the very next possession, Naz Reid stays in front of Jokic and forces the offensive foul. Here he is again, but this time switched onto Murray. He slides his feet and beats Jamal to the spot and gets the block. The T-Wolves have 3 hounds as perimeter defenders. Off the miss, watch Alexander Walker pick up 94 feet to lead Murray right to his running mate Jaden McDaniels to just knock off the rhythm of the Nuggets offense. When they finally get it safely into their set, they only have 9 seconds left to run something. Minnesota switches the screen and eventually forces the shot clock violation. This is 10 minutes left in the second quarter, and they're this locked in and aggressive on defense. You can see they genuinely enjoy playing on this side of the ball, which is extremely rare in this age of the NBA. Here again, Naw is now switched onto the bigger Aaron Gordon, and he still moves his feet and beats him to every spot he's trying to get to, and leads him right into McDaniels again for the block. This then turns into another bucket on the other side for a Cat 3. After a Nuggets timeout, Walker is a little late recovering onto Murray, but McDaniels is there on the stunt to force the miss. And off the offensive rebound, Jokic is surrounded by 3 guys in the paint to get his shot blocked. Denver is now in scramble mode, and Minnesota recovers nicely due to their communication. To finish the possession off, Reed again switches onto Murray and blocks another shot. And this once again leads to the Nuggets having the wrong matchups due to transition, and Naw hits another 3 to go up 19. Jokic was lazy on that defensive possession, and that was a trend in this game. Here in the pick and roll, Reed sets a ghost screen and pops to the 3, and Jokic sticks onto the ball handler too long and he's too slow to recover, which leads to the 3. A few possessions later, Minnesota collapses on the Gordon drive to force a miss, and in transition again, Ant blows right past Jokic to finish at the rim. Very next possession, watch these rotations from the T-Wolves. McDaniels rotates to the corner and shades the baseline into his help. Alexander Walker is there to meet Gordon on the drive, and Reed closes out on the shot. And off the miss, Ant blows by the Nuggets again for the layup. Another example of Jokic's poor defensive effort. Off the give and go, he's just too slow in recovering and doesn't provide any rim protection. The Nuggets finally force a turnover, but Jokic being sped up and out of sync like he was in Game 1, he throws the ball away for another turnover. My favorite possession from Reed in this first half, he plays in a drop to stop MPJ, then he's one-on-one with the 3-time MVP and stays straight up to block him twice and force the miss. And to close the half out, Walker is picking up full court again, and Reed plays the passing lane for the steal, leading to another 3 on Jokic. Then very next possession, the ball pressure from Reed and a strong help from Mike Conley leads to another leak out for Ant to blow the lead up to 28. Back-to-back turnovers to end the half, and at this point the T-Wolves are just having fun and playing free defensively. The second half was no different. Look how active Minnesota is with their hands, and they once again collapse in the paint to force a turnover. But on the other side of the ball, the T-Wolves made it a priority to attack the Joker. They have 4 straight possessions going at Jokic. Here on the drive, he is in drop and Kyle Anderson gets behind him for the layup. Then the next possession, Jokic is in help on the strong side, but he just loses his man and gives up the 3. Then out of the pick and roll, he's just too slow off his feet and gets blown right past for the layup. Back on defense, another example of how active Minnesota was with their hands. Naw fights through the screen with Reed and drop, and this was originally called a foul, but you can see how clean this steal was as Murray brought the ball towards the inside. And again in transition, Walker locates the ball to strip it from MPJ. There are so many examples in this game of the instincts Minnesota's defenders have which cause havoc onto the Nuggets. And to close this game out, Anthony Edwards put the ball in his hands and took over. Here he spins away from KCP not giving up middle and the help to get to the layup. And lastly, he goes away from Jokic on the help, and Denver has no rim protection, so Ant has no problem for the layup. The T-Wolves smoke Denver and take both games on the road to set themselves up for full home court advantage of 2-0. Putting up this elite of a performance defensively without the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year shows how many layers Minnesota has and how deep of a team they really are. The easiest thing someone could say that the Nuggets can fix is to get their stars in favorable matchups more often, but there's honestly not a single easy matchup for either player. They're going to have to be able to match Minnesota's physicality on both sides of the ball. But I need to know, when was the last time you guys have seen a defense this good? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all for my next video. Peace.